We have to treat Russia right now like a pariah state. That is not fair on the Russian people, and we should not assume that Putin is acting in their name. We've seen, again, quite inspiring protests taking place in many parts of Russia in recent days, and people who do that in Russia are showing incredible courage and bravery. But the actions of Putin and his regime are completely beyond the pale, and they have to be responded to in that way. This is a really, really crucial moment, because Ukraine is in the immediate firing line, literally, here. It is the arena of this battle, and its people are resisting bravely. But this is a battle for freedom and democracy everywhere. This is a fight between the autocracy, the oppression that leaders like Putin personify, and freedom and democracy on the other hand. And we need to make sure that freedom and democracy prevail, and that is the import and the significance of this particular moment. And all of us have a duty to do everything possible to make sure Ukraine prevails, because by Ukraine prevailing right now and protecting its own independence and sovereignty, then all of us will benefit as a result.
Thanks, First Minister. On Ukraine, then, there's calls today for the Scottish Parliament to drop its investment in Sberbank, the Russian bank. Is that the kind of thing you'd support in terms of reducing investments in Russian assets?
Yes, I think all of these things have to be looked at. Obviously, the issue for the Scottish Parliament pension scheme is a matter for the Scottish Parliament, the corporate body. I'm sure these issues are being looked at and actively explored right now. All of us have a responsibility here. Governments in imposing sanctions, companies and considering carefully any investments they've got, pension schemes as well. We need to make sure that Putin feels, I think he is already feeling, because the response so far has been strong, but we need to make sure he feels and continues to feel the full consequences of the completely unjustified action that he has taken. I think the UK's current position on refuge for people fleeing Ukraine is unacceptable, and if it doesn't change and change substantially very soon, it risks, at a time when we should be building maximum unity here, being embarrassing for the UK. So I am calling on the Prime Minister, I'm appealing to the Prime Minister to follow the example of Ireland, to follow the example now of the entire European Union, and have a situation effectively where anyone from Ukraine who is seeking refuge in the UK is allowed entry to the UK with no visa requirements, and the paperwork can be sorted later on. The position announced by the Prime Minister last night, restricting that kind of approach, not even just to family members of people already here who are in Ukraine, but immediate family members, is woefully inadequate. It doesn't meet the moment. This is a time to step up and do everything we can to support Ukrainians, and I hope that we will see significant movement from the UK government over the course of today.
What about a message for oil and gas companies? We've seen some movement from some companies over the weekend, being in the northeast of Scotland as we are today. What would be your message to those companies about their investments in Russia?
Well, my message, and I'll give this directly to the oil and gas companies I'm meeting today, if you have interests in or partnerships in investment in Russia, now is the time to think about getting out of that. We must make sure that Putin, his regime, his cronies, his network of oligarchs are as isolated as possible. I welcome the announcements last night by BP, by Equinor, and I would call on other companies with interests in Russia to follow suit. We must make sure that the international condemnation, not just in words but in actions against Russia, is as strong as it possibly can be. Governments have to lead there by example in terms of the sanctions that are imposed, but big multinational companies have a big part to play too.